are going to cook comfort food. So let's lift our spirits and cook comfort food. I'm going to cook polenta, which is really comforting, which is like a mashed potato. I'm going to put some vegetables in there as well. So we're going to go over to this side. I'm going to roast again. It's going to be one of my easy recipes again. I've got courgette. I've chopped up courgette, red pepper, aubergine, and red onion. So just to show you, a courgette I got like this, split it, and I've made it into cubes like that. So you've got courgette here, then here's the red pepper. Put it into 4 bits, and some red onion. These are very summery vegetables. I mean, spring is coming, it's meant to be lovely this weekend, but this is stuff I've had in my fridge, and it goes a long way. This is an aubergine, which is just, you know, half of it, because the other half I'm going to use in another recipe, which I'm going to show you. And a courgette that came in a packet of 3. I've only used 1. Look how much I'm going to get out of this. Olive oil, a little bit of pepper, and some salt will be all you need. And then just mix that around, and let's put that in the oven to roast for about 20 minutes at 200 degrees. That'll go nice and caramelized while I make the sauce and the polenta. Polenta. I think people don't really know what to do with it, how to use it. I don't know whether you've had it before, but for me, polenta was like a mashed potato, but healthy. It's completely gluten-free. It's really comforting, and I've always cooked it with milk. I've had it a couple of times in Italy, and I thought, oh, this is nice. So I have cooked with it before, and it's so cheap. Look, I got this from one of my Middle Eastern shops. This was £1.09, look, for a Middle Eastern shop. Look how big it is. I remember getting like half the size, like about that much, for about £2 from Sainsbury's. So go to your local shops, Mediterranean, Middle Eastern shops, and you can get it really cheaply. So, as you know, I'm rubbish at the whole measurements thing, but the normal rule is 4 parts milk or water or stock to 1 part of polenta. So I've got here 400 mils of milk, which I'm going to put into a pan here. Pour that in. So that's your liquid. And then I've got 100 mils, not 100 mils, 100 mils, about 100 grams, half a cup of polenta. And see, I just sort of chuck it all in, like keep stirring until I get the right consistency. But you're basically wanting 4 parts water, 4 parts milk, 4 parts water or milk, whichever one you're using, to 1 part of polenta. Chuck it all in like this. And then you stir it and you stir it and you stir it, and you get thicker and thicker and thicker, and it'll get like mashed potatoes. So I'm just going to leave that on a low heat while I show you how to do the sort of tomato ragu that's going to go with this. And I love Italian food. That is my next thing. Let me just make sure you can see this. Here's my pan. So a nice wide pan like that. It's going with the olive oil first, and flavour it with garlic. And here's my garlic crusher again. Nice fresh garlic going in here. And I am going to be quite generous with the garlic cloves. You'll probably think, wow, that's 5 garlic cloves. It can take it, it can handle it. You've got polenta there, you've got the aubergines and peppers and lots of vegetables there that's going to absorb all this flavour. We're going to make a rich tomato ragu here. So 5 garlic cloves is really not much at all. It really does need that flavour. So going in there. There we go. Crush it, because when you crush garlic, it's going to give you that oils that it's going to release. Cutting it, like chopping it up, doesn't give you the same sort of oils that normal crushing does. So it gives you a much more depth of flavour. So definitely crush it. There we go. And because we don't want to waste anything, I'm just going to chuck it all in. Anything that you found in the garlic crusher, all of it in. I really don't want to go to the supermarket again for a very long time. I can hear that bubbling away. Let me give that a little stir as well at the same time. If you want to do it separately, look, I'm doing it simultaneously, but if you want to do it separately, you know, feel free. So you've got the garlic in there. Alongside that, I'm also going to put some crushed chilli in there. Give that a little stir. It's going to all start coming together soon. Give that garlic. Just put that up a bit. Cooking garlic and chili flakes together will give your sauce a really nice base flavour. This is a very similar way of how I make my arrabbiata pasta. So we're going to get a sauce here which is going to have like a tomatoey sort of arrabbiata, chili garlic base with the tomatoes, and then we're going to chuck the roasted vegetables in. And I've got a little addition as well, which I'm going to add to this. This is sort of traditionally one of my recipes that I make with like meatballs as well. So meatballs and polenta go really well together, which is really, really comforting. But my kids had vegetarian sausages and mash today, so they had bangers and mash today. I had 2 left over. I'm going to chop these up and also put them in there for like extra protein. So I'll come to that right at the end. That doesn't really need much cooking off because they've already been cooked, like they're leftovers. So, you know, use anything you have. There you go. It doesn't need much cooking. Got my garlic and chili done. A tin of chopped tomatoes or plum tomatoes. I do prefer plum tomatoes, and I like to break it up and put it in there, but I just couldn't get it. There wasn't any plum tomatoes, so I'm using chopped here, which is fine, but just make sure they're like nice Italian-y kind of tomatoes, but it will be fine because we're going to season it. And another thing I put in here is one of my tricks is balsamic vinegar. Balsamic vinegar helps to give the tomatoes a natural sweetness, a little bit of acidity, but also a little bit of sweetness. So to 1 can, I've probably added about 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. And to that, let's put in a bit of salt as well. There we go. Doesn't need much. So that will caramelize and you'll get a really nice garlicky, chili, and sweet tomato sauce. Now let that reduce, I'd say for about sort of 7-8 minutes or so. Let that do its thing. And in the meantime, the polenta, while I've been doing that, look what the polenta's been doing. It's thickening. It's really thickening. It looks just like mashed potato at this stage. There we go, look. Look at that, as if by magic. It's completely transformed into liquid to like a very mashed potato consistency, and that's exactly what you want. And if you find yourself thinking, oh, that's a bit too thick, or that's a bit too thin, just add a little bit of polenta if it's a bit too thin. Add a little bit of milk if you think it's too thick, thin. But the thing is, if you don't want to use milk, you can use stock. Just use water and stock. It's fine. I like using milk and semi-skimmed milk. I don't drink that much milk, but when I put it in here, it just gives it that creamy consistency. Look at that now. I can kind of show you. It's a really creamy consistency. But the more and more that cools down, it'll get thicker and thicker and thicker. So if you've made it and then you've left it there for 10-15 minutes, you know, bear in mind that you might need to add a little bit of liquid and loosen it up again. It's got a tendency to thicken. But while that's done its thing, because this is when you should add your seasoning. Parmesan is one of my favourites to add as a seasoning in there. To get in there with the parmesan. It's quite salty as well, so that way you won't need to add too much salt in. So you've got parmesan and lots of black pepper as well. So if you do it with water, you do it with stock, you won't need to add too much parmesan or salt, but you won't get it as creamy. With the milk, you definitely get a more creamy consistency. And doesn't that look like the most buttery parmesan? Sorry, parmesan? The most buttery mashed potato in the world. There you go. Can you hear that? That should be that kind of noise and that kind of consistency. Yeah? So that's it. That's your polenta. It's done. So you've got your base done there. And another reason I chose polenta as well, because it's quite hard to get pasta these days in the shops, so that's another alternative. And you know, being cornmeal, not rice, being cornmeal, it's gluten-free, and it is really, really tasty. I can't wait to eat that. Tiny bit of salt in there. And that is your polenta done. And right at the end, I'll just do it now so I don't forget, is a little bit of olive oil in there to make it a little bit silky. Right, and then that's done, so that's your base. And then need some herbs. So, I'm so happy I've got my fresh basil plant left back again. It was dying, I was using the stalks the other day. I'm so happy I've got this back. So just tear up, never cut. Tear up some some basil. We're going to garnish it with basil as well, but into the sauce as well, I like putting some basil in there to give it that flavour. And there you go, that sauce is almost done. If you can see it, it's a really, really nice sauce. Okay, so your sauce is done now. It should look like that. If you want it to just loosen up a little bit, tiny bit of water, and now it's really ready for your vegetables. I'll just get them out. So they've been roasting for about sort of half an hour. Put them all in. And equally nice, and I have made this before as well, when I've had more meat in the house, and some meatballs with this as well. The vegetarian meatballs are amazing, the Linda McCartney ones when I cheat. And yeah, just making your own meatballs from a turkey or lamb or something. And I also have those sausages, so that's gone in, your vegetables, but I also have these vegetable sausages that the kids had. So look, these ones, I like using the Cauldron ones. They're really nice. They've got a nice firm texture. Just put them into pieces. And I just find that this is for extra protein. I try and put some sort of protein in each meal because there was not really any protein here. I'm putting these vegetarian sausages for my protein. I'm chucking that in. So it's like a sausage vegetable ragu. Just making sure you can see here. And then, yeah, just stir that through. So you've got the tomatoes, all the roasted vegetables, the sausages, all the flavours we started with, garlic, chilli, etc., basil as well. And there you go, you've got really, really nice rich ragu there. I feel like it needs a little bit of loosening up, add a little bit of water. Always save the tin, swirl it around and get as much of that flavour from the tomatoes as you can. And yeah, just loosen it up there. There you go. And that is done. And then, as I thought, while I was waiting for the polenta to be done, for the vegetables to be done, the polenta did go a little tiny bit hard. So I'm just going to add a little splash of milk in there. Just a tiny bit. Put the heat up. Warm it through. That must be so annoying, that ticking, because you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm going 4, 5, 6. So, there we go. Loosened it up. Look, matter of seconds. And let's plate up. That will easily feed a family of 4 or 2 greedy ones like us. 2 big bowls, because it's comfort food. I'm getting my big bowls out and sit in front of the TV and have a big bowl of this. It's like hugging a bowl. So, polenta, a bit there. Some in there. And then in the centre, what I'm going to do is put all the vegetables and the sausage. Peppers, courgettes, aubergines, red onions. There you go. I love this recipe. I can't stress how good it is. It is really, really tasty. A bit more for this person. There you go. My husband, this person. So, and then finish it off. Best bit. Parmesan on top. And you can put olive oil as well. I've got this chili oil. It's lovely. I think it's from Sorrento. It's lovely, but you can get this from anywhere. A little bit of chili oil on top. You don't have to. Normal olive oil is fine as well, but I think a little bit of chili oil really lifts it. But normal olive oil is really nice. You need to finish it off with a bit of olive oil, always with Italian food. Come in, Mr. Basil. I'm so happy I've got you back. I don't feel my house isn't complete if my basil plant isn't looking happy like that. It was making me very sad. There we go. Basil. And if you want, a fine bit of black pepper. And that's it. Look at that. That is, isn't that a hug in a bowl? Can't get yourself pasta. It's like creamy mashed potato and the most comforting ragu. I love this dish.